All right, well, one of the benefits of having a lifted truck is I can literally sit underneath it, so that's nice. It'll be easy to work on this. This is my rear axle, again on a 97 Ford F350 7.3 liter diesel engine. And I got this new rear differential cover. Since obviously this one's leaking, you can see where it's dark here around the edges. You can even see a little bit of moisture accumulation there. Oil accumulation is probably the better way to say that. Accumulation there. So I'm gonna pop this guy off. You can see there's like this old gasket material. I don't know if that is pretty old and worn out. And I bought a whole new cover. And my disclaimer, as is true with all my videos, I'm not affiliated with any of the companies that I talk about in any way. I'm not getting money from them in any way. This just happens to be what I bought for my truck. So, and there's a lot of good options out there. I'm certainly not saying this one is the best or the only one, but this is what I got. The thing I like about this rear differential cover, it's made by AFE Power. First of all, you can see how deep that is this way. So that'll add a lot of oil capacity. Plus you can see it's got these heat fins, so that'll help it to cool down. I did some research. They said this will keep my gears 45 degrees cooler, which is great, especially if you're towing or doing some four-wheeling or just hauling a heavy load in the bed. So a couple cool things about the inside. This is aircraft grade billet aluminum. And look at the parts that they get that come with it. First of all, it's got this guy, which is just phenomenal. It's got a dipstick, and well, you can see how magnetic that is, so that's cool. But it's got a dipstick, so I really like that. That lets you know if you're operating, you know, at the proper level or not. Also, it's got a fill plug and a drain plug. These old ones, there is no drain plug. The only way to drain it is to pop off the entire cover. So that's definitely an upgrade, having a drain plug. And then this was also super cool. Check this out. It's got a, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there's glass there. You can see my finger through there. This is a glass covering. And the nice thing about this is if you get water in there, you can easily see that there's water in there. So yeah, all those things combined convinced me that this was a really good option and that I should go with this brand. So I think there's another brand that's called like Mag High Tech, and that's a really good looking brand as well. So I don't think you could probably go wrong with either brand. And I don't know, I'm excited about this. So this will be my new rear axle cover. I'm also going to do the front axle and my transmission oil pan, but not in this video. We'll save those for another time. But let's get working on this. It's really straightforward to do these rear differential covers. I think there's 12 bolts here. Just undo all of those, and you're going to leave one of the top ones in a little bit so that when you break the seal, the whole thing doesn't fall down. But yeah, we'll pop the seal, and I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing that this differential fluid comes out just absolutely gray. I bought this truck used, and I'm assuming, I don't know, but I'm guessing this is the original differential cover and that this fluid has never been changed. So this is going to really help this truck run a lot better. All right, well, I'm going to get my wrench on these and see if we can get these bolts off. To gently tap this with a mallet. It's kind of all the way around. Let's see here. so I don't need to tap it. Yep, just broke the seal. Yeah, that diff fluid actually looks a lot better than I expected it to. There it is, and that is why I keep that top screw on, so that it doesn't fall in and splash differential fluid all over my garage. There it goes. That's it all the way. Oh my gosh, that stinks. My wife likes that smell. I guess that's why she married me. Alright. Alright, that's pretty well drained out. So, let's take this last screw off and pop this guy open. See what we see. And there's my differential. That's crazy. I've never actually looked inside one of these before. So this is a pretty neat experience to see that my gears look like they're in really good shape. I expect them to be worn down, but they're not. The teeth there still looking pretty sharp. This is my, I believe this is called the tone ring, and this is what my sensor reads to show my speed. Alright, now what I need to do is get all this gasket material off. So I'm going to start working on that. Obviously you don't need to see that on film. That's just going to be me here with a putty knife, very gently scraping along here. Some people use a razor blade. I don't like the razor blade because if you get it at just the wrong angle, you're going to score your metal facing. So I prefer just a very dull putty knife, and I'll take it at a real, like not a steep angle, real shallow angle like this, and just gently remove that gasket. Then I'm going to clean that up really well, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, real talk here for a sec. So I said I was just going to do that with a putty knife, and about 5 minutes into it I realized a razor blade would be better. This is my first time doing this job, so I'm just kind of learning as I go. But I just got a flat razor blade like this, and it got most of that gasket off. I just went real slow. I was very careful not to gouge it. And now I've got a brass brush, not steel, brass. And I also have, there's I think this is called copper wool. These would both be really good choices for getting the remaining gasket. Like even with the razor blade, there's still some stuck on the metal. So I'm just going to very gently brush that off, and I'm really going to take care that I don't get that junk inside of the differential. So when I get up here to the top, where I know it's all going to fall down, I'll get a rag and put it in there so that it all just falls on the rag. Anyway, that's how I'm going to get this real clean, and we'll see how that goes. Alright guys, well, here's a couple things I learned while I was cleaning that off. First of all, start with a razor blade. That was way better than trying to use a putty knife. Secondly, brass brushes, no good at all for this. It made zero progress. So then I used the copper wool, and that actually was pretty good, but the copper wool itself with like little bits were falling out, and then I started getting nervous that maybe some copper pieces would get in my gears, which would be horrible. So I got to be honest with you, I went to the old steel brush, and this worked the best, and it didn't scratch here. And I guess I shouldn't have been worried about it. I was thinking this was aluminum, but the engine is aluminum. These parts are all steel because they're subjected to so much stress. So using the steel brush worked just fine, and as you can see, I've got this mating surface nice and clean. And just a little plug here for doing this yourself. If you take this to a mechanic, they are not going to give this near the time and attention that you will. They're going to get gunk down in your gears. They're probably not going to put a rag in there and try to keep it like clean. I mean, maybe some mechanics would, but you're rolling the dice. Nobody is going to take as good of care of your truck as you will. So I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. And I spent some time on this, you know. Don't be afraid to spend a little bit of time and really try to get it looking good. I'm fairly certain this is ready now for the cover, and I'll start putting in the bolts. So here we go. So I'm using the Redline full synthetic differential fluid. You can see I've got the 75 weight 140. I use, there's going to be a lot of people who watch this video who are going to say, hey, you should use Motorcraft. And I hear you. I don't disagree with that. I use Motorcraft for pretty much everything in my Ford truck, except for the differentials. This stuff is specially formulated from all the research I've done. You know, this is the top of the line differential fluid that you can use. It's what NASCAR uses literally in their differentials. And those are, you know, those cars are subjugated to extreme wear and tear and hot temperatures and, you know, crazy acceleration. And anyway, if it's good enough for NASCAR, it's good enough for my truck. So everything else I use Motorcraft, like I said, but definitely in the differentials I'm going to be using the Redline full synthetic. The reason I'm bringing that up right now is because it is time to put the gasket in my cover. You can see there's a groove here all the way around. Word to the wise, get a sponge or a wet rag and wipe this all out. When it's fresh out of the factory, you can wipe your hand across it and see aluminum dust and little aluminum like shavings, little tiny ones that you wouldn't notice unless you did that and looked at your hands. So obviously you don't want that floating around in your gears, so just wash it out real good. If you actually put water into this, that's no big deal as long as you make sure to dry it out really well. Like, you need to leave it in the sun, make sure that all the water evaporates out of it. You don't want any water in here because obviously that's bad for your gear. So anyway, I've cleaned this up real good. Also, take a Q-tip take several Q-tips through this groove. There's all sorts of little like particles and debris that gets in there. And again, that's just one of the things that a mechanic would never do. They are just trying to get your truck done. You are trying to get it done right. So make sure to take the time to get a Q-tip in there, get all the crud out of that little groove so that your gasket sits in there nice and snug. And if there's any little particles in there, they'll rub on that gasket and they'll cause it to leak over time. So just cleaning this out really well is just a phenomenal way of making sure that you get longevity out of this. So that's my 2 cents. And now I'm going to take the gasket that they provided and put some oil on it and get it in here. Make sure it's not twisted. So if the gasket is twisted up a bunch, it's not going to sit in there very well and it won't seal as well. So make sure you've got all the twist out of it, and then before you lay it in, get some of your oil and just I'm actually probably going to dunk this in the oil. You don't have to dunk it, but I'm going to. Nice. I'm trying not to spill this in my truck bed. Just pull it out nice and slow. There we go. And then I can get the oil on this, just kind of rub it on the part that didn't get submerged all the way. I want to make sure this is nice and coated. There we go. That's looking great. So now it's just as easy as getting the gasket set in the groove. It is oddly satisfying to put a gasket in there. Oh, come on. If you put just the right amount of pressure, it just kind of goes into place for you while you rub your finger around the edge. That is great. Okay, I have my gasket in place. I'm just going to kind of rub the excess oil on here. It's probably not necessary, but okay. Couple things that I love about this cover. In addition to the obvious functionality that it provides, It comes with a whole new set of brand new bolts and washers. I really like that. And also the rubber gasket it comes with sure is hassle-free. It seems a lot easier to just use a rubber gasket in here than to mess with the liquid gasket. So pretty happy about that. Nice. That's what the back of my truck's gonna look like from now on. Very cool. So got to give it up for that as well. Very, very cool look to the whole thing. I'm strangely like excited, nervous, I guess. I don't know what the word is, but the anticipation is pretty cool. Okay. That looks much better. One more of these. And this hole right here. I don't love that these are Allen wrench. I would like it better if the bolts that's the only thing I don't like. Those are easy to strip out, but we're not putting a ton of torque on these. It's only 11 to 14 pounds foot torque on each of these, so it's really not a lot. So I guess maybe I shouldn't worry about that. I got these bolts finger tight, and now very important, the owner's manual that comes with it says that you're supposed to use Teflon tape on the plugs. So these two little plugs need Teflon on them, and it looks like the drain plug, and I don't know, I'm guessing that needs Teflon too. I'll double check that and let you guys know. So now I'm going to go through, and in a crossing pattern I'm going to tighten these bolts to 11 to 14 foot-pounds of torque each, and then I'll get the Teflon on the bolts, and then I'll fill it up with oil, and then this goes in very last thing. This is the last thing to go in. So pretty exciting. That was pretty easy. So we're not done yet, but we're basically done. So I just went around that whole thing again to double check. It's perfectly uniform. Every bolt is exactly 14 foot-pounds of torque. So I can't ask for much better than that. Now this thing is ready for me to put the plugs in it, get the Teflon on the plugs, and then fill it up with gear oil. And I can't wait to drive it. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I've got some Teflon tape here, aka plumber's tape, and I'm going to take these little plugs that were provided, and it says just to wrap them in Teflon tape. So keep in mind that you are going to screw these in clockwise, so you want to wrap them counterclockwise so that you get the threads to sit nicely. So start on the left side. The plug is officially a 3/16 Allen wrench. 3/16. It's fairly tight. I don't want to overdo it. I don't even really know what the purpose of having two plugs is. One plug is obvious, like when you drain, even then you don't really need it. It would just like gulp air in without the other plug, but I don't know. I have no idea what the plug is for. There we go. Okay, that's number one. I'll maybe snug that just a little bit more, just to be sure. But I didn't like go crazy on it. It's just snug, nice and snug. Okay, I will now do the drain plug. There's a little washer that goes along with the drain plug, and then it's got the magnet on the end. So make sure you get the washer on there. Actually, I'll do the washer first, and then the Teflon. That'll be easier. That washer fits pretty snug. Surprisingly, it is a 12 millimeter bolt to get this drain plug. I'm surprised it's not standard, but not that big of a deal. It is what it is. Okay, that is tight. I think I'm actually ready to fill this up with oil. Two more plugs, but they're both in the top. So yeah, I'll fill it through here, and I'll leave this other plug open just so the air can come out really easily, and it'll make filling a little bit simpler. I highly recommend getting one of these. You can pick them up at AutoZone for $9.99. I think it's $10. So just makes it a lot easier than trying to get those bottles in there. With my truck, I've got enough clearance, but on a regular car, it's almost impossible. So look how nice and easy this becomes. There it goes. Very easy. All right, that's it. I'll just fill it up, and then I'll put in my top plug and then also my dipstick. I'll put Teflon tape on both of those, and that's it. That's the entire job. With filming, this all only took one afternoon. Without filming this, it's always faster not to film. Realistically speaking, if you had all the parts you needed in the oil and you were just ready to go, this shouldn't take you more than, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour. This is a pretty quick job. So the lengthiest part of the job is just cleaning up the mating surfaces and making sure that you've got a clean surface. But other than that, super straightforward, really easy, and pretty satisfying. I'm really happy that I did this job. Anyway, so good luck to you guys.